You're listening to Mentoring Developers. So how do you keep your skills up to date, right? We have this constant struggle, right? Every 6 weeks, every two weeks, 2 months, something is changing. How do you keep up to date?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things that's also kind of funny is you have the skills that you need to work on for the workplace, and then there's the skills that you want to have yourself, and those two things can conflict sometimes. So what I've attempted to do is to try to gain an understanding. I tend to have limited time because of the various responsibilities that I have, but I try to do two things. One is to do deep dives on things that I feel like are shared sort of skills that I know would benefit me moving forward, things that would allow me to do my job well, and then also things that I naturally have an interest in. So that might be an example of doing a deep dive using Redis, right? So Redis is a in-memory key value store. It's extremely fast, and there's a lot of amazing things that you can do with it. So that's one thing that I might take a look at. The JavaScript frameworks, there's a new one every other day, right? You got Batman JS, Backbone, and Ember, and React, and Angular, and so on and so forth. As far as those, most of the work that I do tends to be server-side development. But I'll definitely what I'll try to do is to hop into a tutorial. So I did the React tutorial, Facebook's React tutorial not too long ago. So I'll try to do those things just so I'm at least familiar with the concepts, and I'm familiar with the overall patterns that they have in place. Because, it's one of those things that you'll see with like some new things that there's already, unless they're like putting out some new pattern out to, the community, that you're more than likely have seen it somewhere else. You say, okay, this is a model view controller sort of pattern, or this is like a model view. I forgot what the other one is, MVVC sort of pattern.
MVVM, the model view model. Model
so you say, okay, I get understanding of maybe how this works. Or maybe it's something that looks a bit more functional, a bit more procedural in nature. So once you gain an understanding of that, you have your basic kind of fundamentals down as far as how a lot of these work. In the case of JavaScript frameworks, usually they're attempting to interact with some sort of JSON API. You're like, okay, I think I should be able to, I'm familiar enough with this. For me, I like to at least see everything at least once. I may forget it, but I feel like it makes it easier when I need to pick it up again. But that's just the nature of the business. The nature of the business isn't so much about, hey, do you have a bunch of skills? But have you developed your core fundamentals? And have you established a really good pattern and practice for learning things quickly? Because, all of a sudden your boss will come in, we got some new piece of technology, or some client wants to use something that you've never used before. So it's more about, establishing really good problem-solving skills, reading errors, being patient, reading through documentation, and also knowing when to get up and, walk away and take a break and, give yourself a chance to think, and come up with some time and, just a new and fresh way of looking at things. Knowing when to walk away is also a really important skill to have as well.
I think these are excellent points, especially the point where you talked about having a core set of skills, because you can easily get overwhelmed by the number of different things you need to know.
Yeah.
As a web developer, you need so many things. HTML and CSS keeps changing. I mean, HTML, CSS are not constants. JavaScript keeps changing. The years 2015, 2016, and so on. They will keep changing. And then we have JavaScript frameworks. They're all new kinds. Then we're the server-side technologies, they're programming languages. You could be working in JavaScript, you could be working in Ruby, you could be working in C#, Java. There's no end to this. So,
yeah.
And of course, we haven't even talked about the backend, the database. And if you start trying to do everything all at once, you will definitely struggle. So what is your core strength? I think it's very important to recognize that. It's a good point.